Discover and Grow is a nonprofit based in New York City, founded by passionate advocates of change. And the programs empower children to maximize their potential by focusing on their social and emotional learning and character development. And with me, co-founders Gladys Enriquez and John Calvin.
Hi, Jane.
Also executive director,
Yes.
Gladys. So let's just start. Give me an overall view of what Discover and Grow is. Gladys?
So Discover and Grow is a program that focuses on, as you mentioned, empowering children and youth. And now our goal is to empower also the families and the schools and the whole community. As they say, it takes a village. What we want to do is promote self-awareness, self-control, social awareness, also relationship building skills, decision making. These are like the five main competencies that we focus on. And at the same time, other important character traits like honesty, resilience, and things that, we're not really taught in school, but that are so important for you to be able to have a good life, a successful life overall.
How did the pandemic impact these behaviors? Because I felt like my kids lived through it, and I felt like when they went back to school, my daughter especially, because she was in middle school, I felt like there was a lot, especially that first year, was a lot of behavior issues, things like that. I mean, did you see there?
Yes.
John?
Yeah, I think it exacerbated a lot of issues, right? So a lot of inequalities from housing and healthcare to education, of course, and students getting behind, behavioral issues like you're mentioning, people being isolated at home, people dealing with a lot of trauma and loss, real loss of life, and just, exacerbated a lot of those. And we're still making up for it. I still think people probably haven't even processed what happened 3 years ago or what's been happening over the last 3 years. So something like what we're doing with social emotional learning really helps to uncover those feelings, uncover that trauma, be able to deal with it productively, not to run away from it, to be able to have those conversations, to be able to journal about it, to even talk to teachers about it, obviously family members, brothers, sisters, and friends.
Now, do you work with schools or families, or what kind of, where's your outreach?
Yeah, so currently we work with schools and also nonprofit organizations that have an outreach to their communities. And we're in the Bronx and Staten Island right now. And our goal is to be in as many schools as possible. I mean, those are our major partners.
So walk me through the process. Like, you enter a school, and do kids, come to you for a class, or how does it work?
Yeah, so basically right now we're doing an advisory period. And that basically, it's not a graded period. It's just
advisory. Yep,
yeah.
I'm familiar.
And so basically, we have a whole curriculum and then once a week. So each day each session, we would teach a class. For example, a class like identity. We had a 3-part series in which first, we were helping kids uncover who they are. You'll be surprised. A lot of kids don't know what they like, what they love, what they hate, things that they're good at, they're not. And these are foundational things that we should all know, because then it can influence, the choices you make, right? So if you know what you want, you're not just following the crowd, right? You're not into peer pressure, because
then
you're like
star.
Exactly. Then you're just doing what you want. And so we were doing that identity series that was so helpful, and then we got to mix it in with art. So we were doing some self-portraits that were Picasso style, and so we try to make it fun and interactive. So it's not just like learning these concepts, but actually really engaging the kids.
Right, a discussion, and I would think would be an important part of this.
Yeah,
so.
definitely.
Yeah.
And another important part of it is that it's a collaborative approach. So Gladys mentioned it takes a village, right? We're trying to work with even getting feedback from parents, but working with school administration, principals, leadership to understand where are the gaps, where do they think the most significant gaps are, and then we recommend lesson plans around that. Maybe that reminds us of something else that we recommend to them as well. So we use them as a sounding board and a starting point as well, so that we're working collaboratively on the things that they feel need to be addressed.
I mean, what inspired you to do this?
It was 2020. We had a 6-month-old. We were trapped in our little NYC apartment, and we wanted to do more. We just felt like whatever we were going through, we couldn't imagine what other people were going through. And so, we had the conversation, like, what can we do? What can we do that's not fun? That's not the beyond the basics, beyond food and shelter and health. What can we do to help? And then, John, you want to?
Yeah, I just said people need internal foundations. Mental health, people are dealing with mental health challenges. We don't talk about these things a lot. It's only recently, in the last maybe 5 or 10 years, become accepted that mental health is a real thing. And people need to be empowered. They need to be self-aware of their emotions, what they're dealing with, what their purpose in life is. Like Gladys said, how to be resilient, how to overcome adversity. What is my identity? What should I accept? What shouldn't I accept? How to peer pressure, relationships. All of these things are incredibly important, not just for our daily lives and interactions and relationships, but also being successful in the business world, in real life, whatever we go on to do. If we're not self-aware, if we're not socially aware, how are we going to deal with people? If we're not emotionally intelligent and we don't know what other people are feeling or interacting and we don't pick up on those cues, it's very hard to manage a team. It's very hard to be a leader. It's very hard to interact with a team even at an entry-level position.
Yeah, and so then I looked up some information, came up with social emotional learning, ran into it. And they were like, we need to do this. I signed up to actually become certified instructor in it right away.
Literally, we had this conversation. She goes and looks it up that day. She's like, oh, Rutgers, there's going to be a course starting tomorrow. Should I sign up? We're like, well, that's not a sign.
Might as well do it. Yes. I mean, well, what a great way to spend your pandemic time, you know, taking a class and getting a certification and using that to help people. So, but yeah, it's so important, especially young kids, because you don't, you know, everything's kind of weird. You don't know. And if you can talk about it and you know some lessons in how to get through difficult times and that everybody has these, you know, that's really helpful. So how can people find out more information?
So they can go on discoverandgrow.org.
Okay.
And the and is A&D, discoverandgrow.org.
Okay.
And then, you know, welcome to emailing us at info@discoverandgrow.org.
Are there things that if somebody doesn't have this program at their school that they could use at home or?
So we're trying to put online, a curriculum that is more for accessible for people. Right now, it's mainly for schools. Yeah.
One step at a time. So All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Best of luck.